At a packed event in Utah Valley University on September 10th, conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck while speaking on stage. He was quickly rushed to the hospital, but sadly, he passed away just hours later. By now, most of you have probably already heard about this story because it's been everywhere. But I wanted to go ahead and cover it anyway because of just how shocking it actually is, and because the details about what actually happened are still unfolding. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, Charlie Kirk is most well known for co-founding Turning Point USA, a conservative organization that would target college campuses. His videos where he would debate students in open forum about political topics regularly went viral. On September 10th, Kirk was in Orem, Utah, speaking to about 3,000 people as part of his American Comeback Tour. During the Q&A portion of the event, shots rang out and he was struck in the neck, and chaos immediately ensued across the entire auditorium. Police and security rushed in, and emergency responders, they quickly rushed him to the hospital. For several hours, people were not sure if he was going to live or not, and tragically, a little bit later, doctors confirmed that he had died. Right after the incident, footage circulated online of an older gentleman being handcuffed and led away by police as he was muttering something. That led to rumors that he was the actual shooter, but police later clarified that in the confusion, he was detained but later released without charges. After that, the authorities announced that the shooter was Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah County. Robinson, the actual suspect, was not captured at the event. Investigators indicate that he fired from a rooftop, maybe about 150 yards away, though we're not sure about that. And some outlets are saying that it was a bolt-action rifle, but again, we're not incredibly sure about that. After firing, Robinson allegedly changed his clothes and jumped off of the rooftop and fled on foot, though luckily he was captured on camera. At first, many thought this was the work of a political group, possibly foreign interference, but it quickly became clear that it was not an organized operation, and Robinson appeared to be acting alone. Police released photos of him taken near the event that night, and that's where the case took a little bit of a turn, because it wasn't just law enforcement that was chasing after him. His own father recognized him in the photos, confronted him, and Robinson reportedly admitted to what he had done. His father convinced him to speak with a pastor, and through a family friend, the FBI was tipped off. Within about 2 hours of shooting, investigators had identified Robinson, but it still took about 36 hours of searching before he was actually caught and taken into custody. When investigators pieced together Robinson's movements, they found a lot of forensic evidence. He apparently left palm prints, a shoe print, and even changed his clothing while he was trying his escape attempt. Later, police recovered the rifle that he used wrapped in a towel. Alongside it were unfired bullets with disturbing inscriptions scratched into them, such as, "Hey Fascist, catch." There were others as well, but I'm not going to repeat them because I don't want to get flagged or demonetized. On top of that, Discord confirmed Robinson did have an account on their platform, and he had allegedly posted messages about retrieving a rifle that he had wrapped in a towel, as well as engraving bullets. Discord stated that while he did use their app, they found no evidence that he was planning an attack or going to commit any type of violence. And of course, Discord doesn't condone any type of violence on their platform. So what was Robinson's motives and why did he commit this act? That's actually still unclear. Reports suggest that he grew up in a conservative family, but in recent months had become increasingly political and hostile towards Kirk's viewpoints. Some of his online activity actually leaned towards Anti-Kirk, possibly left-leaning, but we're not sure. But investigators, they stopped short of calling it politically motivated. The shooting sent shockwaves across the country. Utah's government called it political assassination, saying it wasn't just an attack on Kirk, but it was also an attack on free speech itself. Nationally, lawmakers and of both sides of the aisle condemned the act. At the same time, on social media, there's been a lot of people making jokes, celebrating, or mocking Kirk's death. And personally, I find that just incredibly sick. Regardless of where you fall politically, celebrating someone's murder is disgusting. Kirk's family and Turning Point USA released statements asking for privacy while also thanking supporters for their prayers. On the other hand, Robinson's family is now facing scrutiny and heartbreak, and even though they weren't even part of the act itself. When I think of Kirk's career, one thing stands out. He was willing to engage with real people, especially the young people in colleges, and sit in an open forum and debate them. Now, whether you agree with, his politics or not, I think that he's incredibly captivating, and debating in an open forum, I just never seen anyone do that. So I thought that was something particularly special, and obviously a lot of people resonate with it. Now, I want to step back for a second. I don't want to offer my opinion too much, but I just want to point out that American politics has become incredibly divisive. And I don't really like to get too political because of that nature. And it just seems like people just get in these arguments and they're incredibly hostile towards each other. And it's just funny how politics just seems to suck you in and make you almost really defensive or offensive towards anyone with another viewpoint. So I want to talk for a minute just why I think it is so divisive. This is just my opinion. Let's say that I'm left-wing in my political beliefs. I'm not left or right. I'm really not political at all. But let's say I'm left-wing. Then I'm most likely to consume a certain news station that is left-wing. Yes or no? Right? I'm not going to want to consume the right-wing news because when I turn it on, it's just going to look like lies and they're not reporting it correctly and they're biased, but my news station is not. When we watch the news, we tend to think that it's unbiased because when we're watching the news, we're not necessarily thinking I'm watching left-wing news or I'm watching right-wing news. We just think it is the news. It's my news. It's the one that I like. But I'm watching the news, and the news journalism is supposed to be unbiased, right? So 3, 4, 5 times a week, maybe more, and all the other sources, I'm watching news that is biased, right? I'm watching people that report the news. It's a group of professional individuals that are probably, you're going to assume they're much more in the know about politics than you are. They're the pros. I'm the one consuming the content, right? So I'm going to think that they know more than me. And look at them. They're very polished. They're in suits. They speak really well. I'm watching people that are giving me the news in a certain type of way that's left wing. So I'm getting fed a biased news, thinking that it's reality and it's the only way. I'm also witnessing people, real people, that are of the same opinion as me, right? And subconsciously, I'm thinking it's unbiased, right? So when I get together with another individual that's of the other side, the right wing, and we start to talk and have a friendly conversation or debate, naturally we're just going to get more defensive or offensive or upset because we're living in a bubble by the news that we consume, because we just repeatedly watch one-sided news thinking it's unbiased, and we're never getting exposed to the other side of the news and their bias. And nowadays the news is both very biased, right? I don't know if it used to be like that in the day, but it's very biased. So if I were to turn on the right-wing news, I'm going to get a news opinion that seems incredibly unbiased, incredibly biased, and incredibly just a bunch of hogwash. You know what I mean? Because both of the news stations are very biased naturally now today. So I'm going to get into this incredible debate with, people of the other political viewpoint. And it's very similar to social media, right? When you turn on social media, they're going to feed you, let's say you're watching videos. They're going to feed you videos that you interact with. So the videos that you're more likely to click the like button, more likely to comment on, and more likely to choose to watch, and just you watch more of them, right? So if I give you right-wing news, you might watch it for 15 seconds or a minute and then you turn it off. But if I give you left-wing news because you're left-wing, you're going to watch 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 minutes of it. So they're going to feed you more of that left-wing news. That makes sense, right? So it's much easier to butt heads with the other side because you really feel that you are right. And you're getting exposed to people, the news stations, that are other real people. You think, here's all these other people that also believe what I believe, right? And you're never getting exposed to the right-wing side. You know there's a right wing, and you know there's people that believe that, but they're those other people, and you don't interact with them as much. You don't interact with that right-wing news as much. So you just naturally believe, of course I am the most right, or my side is the most right. And so when I get into a debate with this person, I'm like, what do you know? You're just a silly other side person or whatever. It kind of also reminds me of religion in that sense, because when you're of one religion versus another, the stakes are so high because it's God, it's the highest thing. So people just naturally get, really defensive or aggressive, talking about those topics. And it's similar to politics, because politics is essentially the future of our country, the future of our children, the environment that they're going to grow up in. So I think it's similar that you come in with the viewpoint that the stakes of what we're talking about, the debate, is higher than yourself. We're not talking about my world. We're talking about the entire country, the entire community, and everything. So I just think that, the debates just get too heated. It should be a healthy conversation, not even really a debate. But I just think it's just almost natural and easy for people to get incredibly entrenched in, that type of behavior, just because of how we consume content today, how social media is geared, and how there just seems to be, two different sides to the news while assuming that it's unbiased. Anyway, that's one of the reasons I'm really just not that political. It's kind of a turnoff to be, of one political party, and then you're just getting attacked just based on your opinion. I think people get too crazy about politics, to be honest. Also, I think if I were to choose to be of one political party, then I'm probably going to choose that and be that for life. Do you think that's going to make you incredibly biased, maybe beyond where your opinions could be if you weren't? So if I'm Democrat, I'm not going to ever listen to the Republicans, and I'm going to probably vote Democrat every single time, I think that's kind of dangerous to label yourself that and just automatically side with them, because siding with them is going to automatically make you at odds with the other side before you even really listen. Furthermore, if you're of one political party and affiliation, sometimes the other political party just has a stronger candidate. If you were voting for president, would you vote for your political side even if your candidate was weak? Sometimes I think it's just better to vote for a stronger candidate, one that can speak clearer, can sway more opinion and have more command with, how he speaks and condones himself. But anyway, I'm not going to speak much more about my opinion, so I'll leave it at that. So this isn't the type of video that I normally make, but I felt it was worth covering because it's not a political story to me. It's a human story. And the man was killed in front of thousands of people. A father had to turn in his son. And, it's really touched the entire community. To me, this isn't about politics. It's about the danger of letting division and hatred go unchecked. My heart goes out to the Kirk's family, to the people in the auditorium who had to witness that traumatic event, and even to the suspect's family, because they got to be going through some crazy stuff, especially with all the people and all the eyes and, all the intensity of everyone, following this story. They're going to be carrying the weight of that tragedy probably for the rest of their lives. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one.